Over 5,000 years ago, a man was frozen high in the Alps, his body perfectly preserved in ice. When scientists sequenced Ötzi the Iceman's DNA, they uncovered secrets no one expected. Could his ancestry hold the key to a hidden past? Join us as we uncover the details of what they found and how it shocked the entire world. On a crisp September day in 1991, what started as a peaceful mountain hike became one of the most astonishing archaeological discoveries of modern times. Erika and Helmut Simon, experienced hikers, were making their way through a rugged mountain pass in the Ötztal Alps, on the border of Austria and Italy. The air was thin, the terrain was harsh, and the glacier still held its icy grip on the landscape. But the late summer sun had softened the ice just enough to reveal something completely unexpected. There, partly buried in melting ice, lay the still form of a human body. At first, the couple thought they had found a climber who had recently perished in the unforgiving mountains. But as they drew closer, it became clear that this was something far older, far stranger. The body wasn't dressed in modern climbing clothes or carrying contemporary gear. Instead, the man wore thick leather shoes stuffed with grass for insulation, an old and surprisingly effective way to keep feet warm. Clutched in his possession was a copper axe, its blade stained with the greenish tint of age. The most startling detail, however, was how well his body had been preserved. His skin was darkened and leathery, but intact. The ice and freezing temperatures had protected his body for centuries, keeping his features eerily recognizable. News of the find spread quickly. Authorities were called in, and helicopters soon brought in experts and archaeologists. What began as what looked like a rescue soon turned into a major scientific investigation. Carbon dating and forensic tests soon revealed the truth: the man had been frozen for more than 5,000 years. He lived during the Copper Age, around 3,300 BCE, a time when humans were just beginning to work with metal. He was named Ötzi after the valley where he was discovered. But Ötzi was more than just a frozen body, he was a glimpse into an ancient world. Every detail of his clothes, tools, and even his skin offered clues to life thousands of years ago. Yet the deeper researchers looked, the more mysteries they uncovered, especially about his death, which turned out to be far from peaceful. Forensic analysis showed that Ötzi was around 45 years old when he passed away. In his time, this was already considered old age, yet his body suggested he was strong and well adapted to his environment. He stood about 5 feet 3 inches tall and weighed roughly 110 pounds. Though small by today's standards, his bones and muscles revealed the life of a man used to hard work and survival in the wild mountain terrain. One of the most fascinating features on his body was a set of tattoos. They were not decorative designs but were carefully placed along joints and areas where he may have felt pain from arthritis. Scientists believe these markings might have been part of an early form of medical treatment, perhaps similar to acupuncture. These small details showed that even thousands of years ago, people had ways to try to ease pain and treat illnesses. His clothing also spoke volumes about his skill and resourcefulness. He wore leggings made from goat hide, a bearskin cap for warmth, and a grass-woven cloak for extra insulation. Every piece of his outfit was carefully made for survival, not for style. He was dressed to face the cold, the wind, and the tough alpine environment. The items Ötzi carried revealed that he was a man of his time but also someone who had access to rare and valuable tools. He carried a flint knife with a finely worked handle, a longbow, and a copper axe. The axe, in particular, amazed historians. In the Copper Age, owning a tool like this was unusual. Copper was expensive and difficult to work with, and not everyone could afford or create such a weapon. The copper axe was both a practical tool and a sign of status. It could be used for chopping wood, hunting, or self-defense. This single object suggested that Ötzi may have been someone of importance in his community. Although his body was preserved, it also held the evidence of his final hours. Forensic studies revealed that his death was not the result of an accident or simply being caught in the freezing mountains. Instead, it appeared he had been attacked. His left hand had a deep wound, possibly from defending himself. His ribs bore signs of bruising or fractures, indicating he had been in a violent struggle. The most telling clue was an arrowhead lodged deep in his left shoulder, cutting through a major artery. This injury would have caused him to bleed to death. It was no accident, it was a deliberate act. Blood from 4 other individuals was found on his clothing and belongings, suggesting he may not have been alone when the attack happened. Whether they were allies or attackers remains unknown. Adding to the tragedy, Ötzi also suffered from atherosclerosis, a condition that could have led to a heart attack if he had lived longer. The location where he passed away, high in the mountains, suggested he may have been fleeing from someone or something. Perhaps he was hunted down, a victim of tribal conflict, or caught in a personal dispute. The details remain uncertain, but one thing is clear: his life ended violently. The discovery of Ötzi changed what scientists knew about life 5,000 years ago. His body and belongings offered rare insight into the daily struggles, survival skills, and dangers faced by people of his time. His tattoos, clothing, and weapons showed a blend of skill, intelligence, and adaptation to a harsh world. His death revealed that even in the ancient past, violence between humans was a part of life. But how were scientists able to find out his identity after so many years of his existence? Years after Ötzi's frozen body was discovered in the Alps, the fascination with him only grew stronger. His perfectly preserved remains, locked away in ice for more than 5,000 years, had become a time capsule, offering scientists an extraordinary chance to look directly into the past. Determined to understand who he was, how he lived, and where he came from, researchers studied him in the most careful and detailed ways possible. They examined his skin, his clothes, and even what was inside his stomach, piecing together a clearer picture of his final hours. Analysis revealed that his last meal consisted of dried ibex meat, grains of einkorn wheat, and animal fat, a combination that reflected the diet of someone surviving high in the Alpine mountains during the Copper Age. Inside his intestines, they found whipworm parasites, a reminder of the difficult health conditions of his time. Traces of ash in his lungs showed that he had been close to a wood fire shortly before his death, possibly for warmth or cooking. Each discovery brought a new layer of understanding, but the most thrilling possibility for scientists came from his DNA. In 2012, after years of delicate preparation, researchers managed to extract and map a rough version of Ötzi's genome, his complete set of genetic material. At that time, ancient DNA sequencing was still a young and challenging science, so the achievement was considered groundbreaking. From this first genetic map, scientists concluded that Ötzi had light skin and brown eyes, a result that surprised many because it did not match earlier assumptions based on his mummified appearance. The most shocking detail, however, came from the discovery of what appeared to be steppe ancestry in his DNA, genetic traces linked to the Indo-European peoples who would later spread widely across Europe.